Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and Merry Christmas to you all. You might be watching this Christmas Day, and if not, you might be watching it Boxing Day, but this is when the video will be coming out. It's Christmas Day, so happy Christmas to you all. And I hope you have a great Christmas, great New Year with your friends and family, whoever you might be spending it with. I thought, yeah, why not do my little bit and release a video for Christmas and talk about some movies, Christmas movies. With a little bit of a twist though, which we'll get into a second. But yeah, I thought, why not make a video? Because on a serious note, you know, Christmas is a time which, for a lot of people, you know, it's spending time with friends and family, and it's, you know, one of the best times of the year, happiest times of the year, exciting times of the year. But for other people, also it can be not just one of the most stressful times of the year. I certainly find it a stressful time of the year, but also, I suppose, for a lot of people, it can also be, if you're perhaps in a bad place, one of the worst times of the year, because I think it accentuates, doesn't it, a lot of the kind of negativities that you might have, particularly if you, let's say you live alone or you feel lonely, you don't really have anyone to kind of talk to, you might not have any friends or anything, or family members, you might not be doing anything Christmas Day, and, you know, because it's a day which is kind of like everything accentuates it, whether it's advertising or just seeing other people and all their plans and what they might have. It kind of can accentuate for a lot of people like the negativities or the isolation and whatever other negative feelings you might be experiencing or things you might be experiencing in life. Also, I suppose it's a time when you know, especially for me, you know, I don't just think of the people that are here, I also think of the people that are no longer here. So it's also a time for kind of reflection for me. As well. So I thought my own kind of positive gesture would be to, you know, because I don't know if any of you guys out there are doing anything for Christmas. There might be some of you guys that might not be. So this is my contribution to, in what is probably perhaps a bit more of a barren landscape, just a tiny bit of more of a barren landscape, or that is YouTube on Christmas Day, releasing a video for you guys. So yeah, happy Christmas to you all. And with that said, let's get into the Christmas spirit, okay, and talk about Christmas movies. Now, in terms of Christmas movies, right? Well, no, in terms of Christmas, like I say, in terms of Christmas itself, still a bit of a big kid when it comes to Christmas. I like Christmas, okay? The reasons for that obviously change as you grow up, you get older. When you're a kid, it's all about the presents, right? It's all about the toys. And something like the Christmas meal, that just gets in the way of you playing with your Christmas toys, right? You just want to go back to playing with your Christmas toys and your gifts, whatever you might have as a kid. Okay, that's certainly what was my experience was. And as I've got older, the thing I look forward to most, it's the Christmas meal, right? It's the food. It's also spending time in the company of, you know, the people that you love as well. But, you know, the Christmas meal is a very exciting thing. Whereas as a kid, I couldn't care less about Christmas, you know, the Christmas roast dinner, you know, the turkey and whatnot. So, so I love Christmas. Still a bit of a big kid when it comes to Christmas Day. However, with that said, I'm a bit of a Grinch when it comes to Christmas movies. Okay, I don't really like Christmas movies that much. I never really have, even as a kid. So there's not too many Christmas movies that I grew up with, actually. God, this hat's a bit itchy. It's going to stay on though. I'm gonna persevere. Surprisingly warm as well. But yeah, there's not too many Christmas movies I grew up with. One I do kind of remember growing up with and watching quite a bit is, for some reason, the Santa Claus, the Tim Allen version of Tim Allen movie. That's one I remember growing up with. The Home Alones, of course, they were kind of inescapable, right? Well, at least for my generation as a kid growing up. All four of them I saw, but particularly, obviously, 1 and 2 are the ones, you know, the Macaulay Culkin ones, are the ones that I grew up with. But also I saw 3 a lot. 4 is just downright awful, where I watched it a couple of times and I can't watch it anymore. But even those now, so even the Christmas movies that I grew up with as a kid, I kind of don't like anymore. By virtue of, I suppose, overexposure, seeing them too many times. But also you kind of, you know, you see more of what's wrong in them, and you see kind of more of the kind of, I suppose, I don't know, I suppose some of the kind of like the over-sentimentalizing or the hokey sentiment of the films, they kind of irritate me, you know. The things that I like about Home Alone now, really, are the kind of Harry and Marv characters that are obviously brilliantly played by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, respectively. I think Daniel Stern's a highlight in the first two Home Alone movies. I still think he's very funny. But yeah, like I say, not really that much of a fan of Christmas movies. There's a couple of the classics, I mean, going way back, that I really like. But I thought for the purposes of this channel, let's be a bit different, right? And I am a bit different when it comes to Christmas movies as a result. And so I've picked 5 movies here that essentially are kind of some of my Christmas movies, but they're not really Christmas movies, right? Some of them are. I'm going to make an argument for them nonetheless that they are Christmas movies, right? But my kind of qualification for them is a bit lax, a bit loose, okay? But like I say, nonetheless, I'm going to present a case as to why I think they're kind of Christmas movies and why I watch them at Christmas, okay? If you watch a certain movie at Christmas and you have a valid reason for it, it's your Christmas movie, and that's all that matters, right? Okay? So with that said, let's get into it. The top I'm wearing might give the first choice away. It's a movie which I'm putting in this list for the purposes of the fact that it's still debated over whether it's a Christmas movie or not. I don't know why. It clearly is a Christmas movie, okay? And that is, of course, the original Die Hard. I've spoken about this franchise a little bit in the Why the Fourth Did They Make It video that I did, about the kind of the spoiling of movie trilogies, where I talk about the fourth one, but also the virtues of the first 3 movies and why I like the first 3. But it's all about the first one, right? The first movie, it's a Christmas movie, okay? I don't understand how it's not considered a Christmas movie. I mean, it takes place on Christmas Eve, at a Christmas party. It's about a father essentially reuniting with for Christmas Day, spend it with his wife and kids, see his wife and kids at Christmas. There's jingle bells on the soundtrack. There's numerous Christmas trees. There's numerous references to Christmas in the dialogue. What else? I mean, there's Christmas songs on the soundtrack, albeit different ones. So to me, this is the kind of like, I think of Die Hard now as the kind of, you know how people debate, to me it's the kind of pineapple on pizza of Christmas movies, right? It constantly goes through this whole, you know how people seem to have an opinion either way of, does pineapple belong on pizza for some reason? It seems to be a strange, obsessive debate that people have. To be honest with you, I don't really care that much. I mean, if you gave me a preference, I'd rather not have pineapple on pizza, but yeah, so I fall into that camp, I suppose. But with this, it's like, is it a Christmas movie? Is it not? It quite clearly is. In fact, there's a line of dialogue in the beginning of the film where John McClane, played of course by Bruce Willis, is picked up by his limo driver to the Nakatomi Plaza, okay? The Nakatomi building, corporation building, by his limo driver Argyle. And Argyle puts on a cassette tape and it starts playing a Christmas song by Run DMC. Don't know the title of the song offhand. And, John McClane goes, God, have you got any Christmas music? And he says, this is Christmas music. That's Die Hard, isn't it? That's the nature of the debate around Die Hard these days is, you put this song, oh God, someone else might be like, can't we put on a Christmas film? This is a Christmas film, okay? That is Die Hard in a nutshell. I don't need to go through the plot, right? We've all seen Die Hard, haven't we? If you haven't, what are you doing? Watch Die Hard. Like I say, I think people are a bit snooty, weirdly, when it comes to Christmas movies, because this isn't well, it is a feel-good, it is a feel-good movie in the sense that, the movie has a happy ending, you get the kind of desired outcome. It's a Christmas movie in effect, right? So it's not even that it's not a feel-good movie, and it has the kind of like sentimentally good moment at the end. But because it's not almost like vomit-inducing sentimental, feel-good, that's what it is. Because it's an action movie, it can't possibly be a Christmas movie. What are you talking about? I mean, like I say, the Christmas references and paraphernalia and just the plots, like I say, is centered around the fact that it is Christmas. Make this a Christmas movie. I don't care if it was released originally in summer. It doesn't matter, okay? That's like saying, what's that Christmas? Is it The Power of Love by Frankie Goes to Hollywood, right? That wasn't a Christmas song originally, but it's become a Christmas song. I think they made the music video to then tailor it to a Christmas music video, but I don't think it originally was considered a Christmas song, right? I might be wrong, but I think that's correct. But it's now considered a Christmas song, so why can't Die Hard be a Christmas movie? That's my little mini rant about why Die Hard is a Christmas movie. The next one, similar vein, another action movie produced by Joel Silver in the 80s, okay? Score by the same person, Michael Kamen, kind of legend of 80s, early 90s scores, okay? Spoken about this before, in fact, I think in the same video, actually, film franchises video. Lethal Weapon, okay? It's set at Christmas, okay? It's less overt of a Christmas movie than Die Hard, okay? But it has multiple references to Christmas. I mean, Jingle Bell song at the beginning, okay? Again, you see Christmas paraphernalia, okay? Multiple references. You know, you have the police officers trying to awfully sing Silent Night, you know, when we introduce the police station that Murtaugh works in. Murtaugh, of course, played by Danny Glover in the film. I think he's on that side, I can't even tell on this. This is the Steelbook, Blu-ray Steelbook version, which has the kind of embossed bullet holes, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it's a Christmas movie. Again, it's a summer blockbuster, okay? And you can kind of tell this wasn't shot in winter, right? It's clearly not Christmas, really, when this was shot. You know, set in LA, so it's a kind of, you know, again, another LA movie. Maybe it's LA is a location people don't like. I don't know. It's not very Christmassy. But like I say, again, the plot is centered around Christmas, okay? A lot of the end of the film, which takes place in the house, you know, you've got the Christmas tree and, I mean, and then, you know, it ends with the one character going to Christmas dinner. Okay, you don't see the Christmas dinner, but that's the kind of signal of acceptance, okay, that these two have finally got on, because obviously it's about two cops, one played by Danny Glover, one played by Mel Gibson, who could not be more opposite, so it seems, forced to work together, and through taking down this kind of drug syndicate, they find that actually they're kind of kindred spirits, okay? What I've learned to appreciate most about Lethal Weapon as I've grown up more, because this is clearly the darkest of the four films, there's four films in the franchise, is how dark it really is. It's a dark movie. You know, essentially, it's about a suicidal character, right? And how essentially Danny Glover's character rescues Mel Gibson's Riggs from that, really. And again, it's not afraid to tackle the kind of the fact that some people do feel that way, particularly at Christmas. It's kind of accentuated and exacerbated by the kind of, you know. Also, Christmas is like Christmas is an alcohol, in the sense that, you know, when you know whatever you're feeling before you start drinking and before you're drunk, you're just going to feel a kind of more accentuated version of that, whether you're happy or sad. Christmas is kind of that, really, I think. And this goes to some kind of dark places, particularly the first third of the film, with kind of frank discussions or depictions of a kind of suicidal character. And I kind of like that it does that, actually. You know, it's something that the kind of that darker edge is lost during the sequels. It's still there a bit in the second one, but it's certainly it's lost through 3 and 4. Yeah, Lethal Weapon. You know, it's still a good watch. It's a film I've seen countless times, like Die Hard. Okay, the next one, bit more left of field. Again, I've just realised how a lot of these are kind of guy movies, really, and they're just an excuse to watch them at Christmas. But although one of them's not. One of them I genuinely think is unequivocally, well, I think Die Hard is as well, but unequivocally a Christmas movie. But this is again another kind of a little bit of an oddball choice, but I'm including it, okay? And that is The Godfather. Godfather 1, Marlon Brando here, as you can see. I find myself watching this a lot around Christmas. Winter as well in general, but Christmas time. I find myself watching this. And it is literally because there are, a couple of scenes. So the kind of opening quarter of the film, not you have the long wedding sequence that opens the film, of course. And after that, though, that segment of the film takes place around Christmas, right? But there's kind of one or two overt scenes that take place around Christmas that, for me, really kind of, they're kind of the first scenes I think of, weirdly. Which is, of course, after Don Vito Corleone, of course, played by Marlon Brando, there's an attempted assassination on him. You have Al Pacino's character, Michael, who's out shopping for Christmas gifts with Kay, played by Diane Keaton, his partner. And, you know, you have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas playing on the soundtrack. And I think it's snowing. They're in New York and they're kind of looking at the department store windows. It's just really Christmassy. it's set in New York, right, which is kind of the Christmas city in America, as people associate it with. And it just, that one scene to me just makes the movie Christmassy, okay? And actually, interestingly, it's, because The Godfather's obviously, it's not the kind of lightest of movies, it's kind of a dark movie again, you know, it's kind of a kind of serious, somewhat somber movie, which is only amplified by the sequel. Interestingly, actually, the sequel is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, of course, because that was made in 1974, Godfather Part 2. But I'm not including Godfather Part 2 here because even though that is kind of a bit more, that's even more kind of wintry feeling, it does have the juxtaposition scenes in kind of Cuba and Miami, but which kind of take away from that. But yeah, Godfather 1, which of course, you know, also has the kind of wintry cinematography by Gordon Willis. The look of the film really helps. There's kind of those dark, you know, those browns that come through, you know, those dark colours. But yeah, that scene where Michael essentially finds out that Vito's, his father's been, you know, there's been an attempt on his life, and he reads it on the newspaper. You know, it's a pivotal scene because that's the final moment of innocence for him. His life will never be the same. That is after that moment. That is the transformative moment of that film, and it takes place at Christmas. And I find that quite dramatically interesting, actually. It's just like a nice little thing, I think. That adds significance to the weight, you know, the fact that it's Christmas is kind of, there's a bit of a kind of irony there, isn't there? And so the next film it's another mob movie, and I find myself watching it around Christmas again, despite the fact it's not considered a Christmas movie by any means, stretch of the imagination, but it does have a couple of scenes that take place at Christmas that I want to discuss. Of course, I'm talking about Scorsese's Goodfellas. Okay? One of those movies that I think, maybe it's because the first time I saw this, or at least okay, so my experiences with Goodfellas are, I saw this on TV when I was a kid. Okay? And I think it was like on BBC or something. And I probably watched the first hour or so before I lost interest. I was really young. Okay? But it must have been around December time, I feel like. And I think maybe the second time, which is when I probably sought it out and actually watched it all the way through, I think it was winter when I first saw this movie. So maybe I have an associational thing there. But it does actually have a couple of scenes set at Christmas, okay? And there's some of my favourite scenes in the movie, okay? I think there's some of the best scenes in the movie, actually. Of course, there's that kind of like notable scene now where, you know, they've just done the Lufthansa heist, okay? And De Niro's character, who kind of is the organizer of the heist, the kind of the brainchild of the heist in a sense. So De Niro's character, Jimmy, is, you know, he's berating all these people that are coming into this bar, right? So you cut to this bar, and you have Frosty the Snowman playing, which I think is by the Ronettes, right? I think it's on the Phil Spector Christmas record, is playing over the soundtrack, and each person that comes in, they're coming into the bar and they're doing exactly what that he told them not to. They're flaunting their wealth, okay? One's bought his wife a kind of this mink fur coat or whatever it is, and then the next character, he's bought this like pink Cadillac outside, and he berates them in front of everyone else. You know, take it back. You know, take it back. What did I tell you? You're being stupid. You know, we've got the FBI or the cops looking at us. What are you doing, essentially? And a lot of people talk about, you know, the kind of the whacking of the Billy Bats character, played by Frank Vincent, as the kind of the turning point of the movie, where that's where everything turns sour for the crew and it gets dark, okay, and everyone starts kind of betraying each other and mergers start happening. But in many ways, the pivotal scene is this one, because this is where Jimmy decides, I can't trust any of these people. And he starts bumping off all these people that are associated with the heist to try and isolate and protect himself, okay? That's where the paranoia really sets in. Again, takes place fundamentally at Christmas, which again I find quite interesting, how the kind of the darkness comes out most at this time, okay? And Scorsese did this brilliant thing where, like I say, Frosty the Snowman's playing, and as Jimmy's getting more and more irate with these people, it just drowns out, okay? The soundtrack just gradually drowns out, and then it disappears. And you just know, if you just pay attention, you notice it drowning out. And it sounds quite haunting and eerie. He turns this wonderfully cheery kind of pop Christmas song. Okay, that's going to be obviously, like I say, wonderfully cheery, happy song. He makes it sound really dark and haunting, okay? Almost like that these gangsters themselves are just polluting the innocence of Christmas. Even Christmas can't not be infected by these guys, yeah? And then after, it ends, the scene ends with, Jimmy essentially telling Henry Hill, played by Ray Liotta, the main character of the movie, the protagonist, don't be stupid like these guys, spend your money wisely. And then you have this comic cut to him coming through the house, telling Karen he's got the most expensive tree that they had. And then he does this thing where he gives a present for Christmas and money for Hanukkah. Even like the religious ceremonies themselves can't be, even themselves can't be untouched by the unfettered kind of the greed, the kind of capitalist consumerist greed of these gangsters. Okay, and then you have this great shot of the Christmas tree, this beautifully ornate Christmas tree, and a slow pulling onto a bauble. Scorsese there's this slow pulling onto this bauble as you have Henry Hill's voiceover come over. I don't know what the song or the soundtrack is, but again, he makes it sound so haunting, and it always sticks with me. And the slow pulling on the bauble, and Henry Hill's talking about essentially Stax' character, which is played by a brief cameo by Samuel L. Jackson here, messes up, leaves the van behind with the prince. He was meant to get rid of it, and he slept in or something. Okay, and he says, and then it cuts to obviously him being killed by Joe Pesci's character, and he says there's just a matter of time before the cops got to Stax, so they had to kill him, and that's when they start bumping off everyone. And the soundtrack again, this beautiful song is just made out to sound so haunting and dark. And again, these two pivotal scenes that happen around Christmas time, which everything should be amazing and golden and rosy and beautiful, but actually it's the beginning of the end for these guys. Okay, they're two great scenes, little moments, little directorial flourishes like that by Scorsese is what makes Goodfellas brilliant, I think. And the final film I want to talk about, and this is a Christmas movie, okay? It's a way more recent film from 2015. It's Todd Haynes' Carol. Don't hear too many people talking about this movie, even though it was critically very, very well received at the time. It's considered one of the best films of the year. And it is a brilliant film. It's one of my favourite films by Todd Haynes. Todd Haynes, a kind of iconic director of the last 20, 30 years of kind of queer cinema. And this is a kind of adaptation of a Patricia Highsmith novel set in 1952 at Christmas in New York. Okay? It's a Christmas movie. It's essentially a story of Carol, played by Cate Blanchett in this movie. Two terrific performances, by the way, who's divorcing her husband, going through the throes of the divorce anyway. And she begins a kind of love affair with Rooney Mara's character, who works in this kind of department store. Okay, it's wonderfully Christmassy. It's like New York 50s department store. She's this aspiring photographer. And they begin this love affair. And, the husband, who gets very jealous and catches wind of this, essentially tries to have, because they have a child, try to take full custody of the child by kind of appealing to this kind of morality clause of kind of homosexuality, of course, the morality clause, as to why he should have full custody of the kid. So it's really kind of a film about the difficulties of two people authentically and openly finding romance in the 1950s, at a time when, of course, it's still incredibly bigoted. And of course, like I say, directed by Todd Haynes, who's a kind of a great icon of queer cinema. Directed, of course, other films like Safe, Far From Heaven, which is his kind of Sirkian tribute, his tribute to kind of Sirkian 50s melodramas, which is also an excellent film. Safe's also an excellent film that kind of really launched Julianne Moore. But this is a great film as well. This is a terrific film, very, very Christmassy. It's probably the one I'll be revisiting in the next couple of days. And just captures that. There's something about particularly 1950s, right? 1950s America. That's really, really innately Christmassy for some reason. Maybe it's because of the movies, the 40s and the 50s movies that came out at the time. Of course, I haven't talked about movies like It's a Wonderful Life, which is kind of a given, right? It's a Wonderful Life, a movie that I actually fully expected to hate. I put off for years, watched it. I was completely won over by it. Another great movie that people don't talk about enough is There's a Shop Around the Corner by Ernst Lubitsch. That's a great movie. That's a terrific film, actually. But yeah, check out Carol if you haven't seen it. This is a great Christmas movie. Great movie in general. Anyway, those are my 5 movies, guys. Like I say, happy Christmas once again. Hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, like, comment and subscribe if you love this video or like the video. And like I say, have a good one, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.